Hi, it's Achim from American Runabouts. This is an update on the Invader restoration. I started with the engine. The bad thing is I made a long video yesterday when I disassembled it, when I started to sand the cowling and everything. In the evening I had to figure out that the SD card in the camera was broken and the file was lost. So sorry for that. That's the cowling. If you remember, that was painted black. So I put it in the sandblasting cabinet. Came out super nice. What you can see here is the old decal. So that was easy for me to find a new one that is ordered and will be here next week. So the old one now is removed. I also started to test, sand it then and polish it, so it will come out super nice. It's in good condition, so no problems here. I removed all the chrome detailing and faceplate, so that's all in good condition. The screws need some replacement and some cleaning. And yeah, the top part is off. That's all in good condition. And I start sanding now. And I received quite a few people who've seen other engines that I painted, how I do it, what I'm gonna do, and why I do it. So this engine is a 62 50 horse Mercury, and originally it was cloud white, basically like the one that you see in the background. And the difficult thing when you do paintings on engines is always that these engines are made from aluminium, or aluminium, they're aluminium casted. So when you sand them down and you come to the bare aluminium, it's always, it's not difficult, but it's a bit different than if you coat basic steel with rust preventive stuff or whatever. So basically you would need something that's called an edge primer on the pure aluminium, and then you can go on with paint. The problem is, in Germany, edge primer, the good stuff that we used a couple of years ago, today is forbidden. So it's hard to get something proper. I use a good epoxy coating. Seems to work fine. The first engine I did with this epoxy stuff is like 5 years in the water now and is flawless, so that seems to work. But whenever you have a chance to use the old paint, then try that. So what I did here is I just sanded it down with a 360 grit and flattened out the surface, so it's a bit rough, and basically that should be a good start to paint on. So white on black is always a bit of an issue, so probably, and I have a couple of spots here where the paint's really bad and you can see that it's cracked. So probably I'm going to sand this down completely and then we start rebuilding the entire paint with this epoxy stuff, and you'll see the process. But generally, especially when you have an outboard in good condition, you just want to change the color, but the basic color is good. Don't make the mistake and sand it down to the bare aluminium. Just use this original paint and its sticking abilities to the original material. Grind it down a little bit and then go on with the paint. Alright, otherwise not too much going on right now. Still have tons of trailer work for customers and some other stuff. I don't know if the camera angle is good enough, but there's a customer trailer still in here. So what you see in the background on the floor is material for the trailer for the Invader. The rims are done, the tires are on the rims, they're next door. So basically, as soon as this thing's out here, we will start with the trailer build, and at the same time we continue with the engine. New SD card, so from now on you'll get updates frequently again, and we'll see how this is proceeding. Something I have not decided yet is what I do with the inner part of the engine. If I'm going to paint that as well, the engine should be in running condition, so obviously there's a couple of hoses that are old and worn, and obviously the cables and stuff. but I basically do not want to take the power head out. So the question is it reasonable to paint it inside, as it's going to be a running engine? We'll see. Probably a bit of a touch-up with a brush or something like that, but I've not decided yet. So first of all, it needs to be cleaned, and then masked, and then we'll see when the outside's ready. Probably we'll give it a bit of a touch-up job inside, but we're not gonna tear it down completely and paint it inside as well. I think that would be overdoing it. And if you have a prop for this engine, as I said, it's a 62 50 horse Mercury, drop me a message. I'm desperately looking for a prop for this thing. Nothing to find on eBay, nothing to find on the internet. And that's the only thing that's missing. It's the prop and the cone that goes on top of the prop. And also I have probably 100 propellers flying around in a workshop, nothing that fits. So if you have one that you want to sell, drop me a message, would be highly appreciated. Thanks a lot. So one more thing. As you can see, this one's covered in the meantime and masked off. And the cowling received another blasting with a softer material. Actually, it was something like plastic grain, and so that sticker came off really nice. And we started sanding it with 600 grit, then 1200, and finally 3000, and then it will be polished. I'm not sure yet. Originally those ridges are painted black if I do this, or I just polish the entire thing. We'll see when it's polished. And I got a message from Jerry, who asked me how I sand those engines. So the main thing is that for the bigger parts I use this disc sander, orbital sander, and the issue is that you use a soft pad in between the hard surface of the sander and the sanding paper, and that allows you to adjust a little bit better to the contours. And if you come to an edge, you're not sanding through the edge immediately, but you still have to be very, very careful. But sanding it without the foam pad, I would not do that. Then sand it by hand. And so if like this one, if I just go and roughen up the existing paint, I do it with a 400 grit or 360 or something like that. If I have to grind down to the bare aluminium and then rebuild the entire paint, I mean, you can start off with something like an 80 grit or something, because you want to remove material. But then if I go with a little bit harder grit, like an 80, I just do the plane surfaces with the orbital sander. So for example, this here I would do, but as soon as it comes to the edges, you have to go by hand. Otherwise, you will take off too much material. All right, I hope that answers the question. I'll give you an update as soon as we start painting this, and when I'm done with the cowling. And yeah, see you next time.